Hey guys, Tommy here over at the bar, strongest gym in the West, Texas, and you just signed up for a powerlifting meet. You need to learn the basics. So some of the things that you need to know depend on your federation. I'm going to talk about USA Powerlifting because that's the federation most of my members lift in. So you have the three lifts: the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift. They go in the order of squat, then bench, and then finally deadlift. Each lift you get 3 attempts, and only 3 attempts. So plan your lifts accordingly. If you have a coach helping you, they'll take care of it for you. But if you don't, feel free to ask, and you'll get some help somewhere. Lots of free, a lot of free info on the internet. Of course, most people in the gym will help you out too. So, you've gotten warmed up. You hit your first, you hit your second, you hit your third. Things that you need to know. Squat, you have different commands. You have the start command, and you have the rack command. Before that, though, you are given an announcement. You are given an announcement that the bar is loaded and ready for you to lift. Once that is given, you have 60 seconds to go out and not only touch the bar and unrack it and get ready, you have 60 seconds to show that you're ready and to initiate the lift. If you don't initiate the lift within that time, which means getting the squat command and squatting, then it's a no lift. This is done to help keep the meet organized and on time and get rid of any excessive delays. So, the bar's been loaded. The announcement of the bar is loaded for you. You have 60 seconds to go set up. You unrack the weight, you walk it out. What do you do next? You make sure that your knees are locked. You want your knees to be locked, and everything is going to look the same as it is when you finish the lift too. So your knees are locked, your hips are in a finished position. Once this is done, though, you will then get the squat command. So when the judge sees you ready, you'll get that squat command. You'll go down and descend in the bottom of your squat, and then you'll reascend, and you'll lock out your knees and be in the finished position. Don't rack it out yet, because you got to wait for the rack command. Once the judge sees that you have the weight under control and it's fully locked out, then you'll get the rack command. So when you get to the bottom of your squat, you need to make sure that you reach depth. What is depth? Depth is your hip joint being below the top surface of your thigh. Okay? It's not parallel, it's breaking the threshold, which the threshold is the hip joint being below the top surface of the thigh. Not being in line, being below. So most judges are going to give you the benefit of the doubt if they're unsure and it's very borderline, but don't let the judges guess. Don't let them doubt. Just make it an absolute for sure. Okay? So, you got the rack command. You have executed that lift. You've gone through. You're done with squat. You're going to have multiple flights in a meet. Okay? A flight is a group of people that are designated to lift at a certain time. So you may have 3 or 4 groups of people or more designated to lift at a certain group of time. Okay? So you need to time your warm-ups accordingly. Look at how many people are on the flight before you. If you have no other lifters in the flight before you, make sure you time your warm-up to be done before your flight starts, before the meet starts. Okay? So, you finish squat, you're going to warm up for bench. Make sure you warm up for bench when the flight before yours finishes. So while they're going, warm up finish before or when they finish, and then even look at when your first attempt is. If you have your first attempt at the very beginning and you're the first or one of the first people to go, make sure you're finished pretty early. And then if you're the very bottom person, you've got some comfort. You can finish right when they start or whatever. You got a little bit of leeway. So anyway, the bench press, rules of performance. You're still going to have the bars loaded announcement. You're still going to have 60 seconds to begin that lift. So from there, you unrack the bar, and you can get assistance unracking it from the spotter. Once you have it unwrapped, you have 3 commands: the start, the press, and the rack. The start command, you're going to unrack, you're going to hold the weight, you're going to wait for it with your elbows locked out, everything in position, your 5 points of contact, your head on the bench, your upper back on the bench, your butt on the bench, both hands on the bar with your thumbs wrapped around, your fingers wrapped around, and your feet flat on the floor. Now, you say, oh, but Tommy, I see people lifting with their toes just on the floor and their heels up, and they pick their head up. That's not USAPL. If you're not doing a USAPL meet, you might be able to do those things in whichever federation you chose. But we're lifting and we're talking about USA Powerlifting, so those things are required. Once you have brought the bar to your chest, the judges are going to look and make sure that you have the weight under control, the bar's not moving around and shifting. Once they see that you have it under control and the bar is still, you'll get that press command. You get that press command, press it straight out, okay? If you let the bar descend after you get the press command, that is a no lift. And that's at any point in the lift after you're given the press command. Some people will do what's called heaving, and they will heave the bar or let the bar sink into their chest and bounce it out after getting the press command. Do not do that. That is not a legal lift. That is not considered a press from a pause. You took a pause press, sunk it into you, and then pressed it back out. Not a legal lift. So anyway, once you do press the bar out and you're ascending, again, do not ever descend. That's a no lift. At any lift, the squat, bench, or deadlift, if the bar ever descends after you've ascended, then it's a no lift. So you ascended, you lock out the weight, and you wait again. You wait for the judge to tell you to rack it. And once you have that done, your spotters will assist you, but you do need to make an initiation to rack the bar. So the spotter's going to assist you racking it. So you have that start, you have that press, you have that rack. Don't descend after you've ascended, and don't heave the bar. Make sure you have those 5 points of contact. If you need the assistance of blocks to put your feet on, you can request that too. Most meets should have them available. Now, after bench, the same thing goes for squat. Look at the timing of all the flights and how many people are in each flight. Make sure that you're warmed up and ready to go. Deadlift is a little bit unique in that on the third attempt, you have the option of bumping your weight, meaning changing the amount of weight you have, whether it's heavier or lighter than the assigned weight for your third attempt and your third attempt only. We'll get to that later. The deadlift is one of the simplest in commands. You have the announcement of the bars loaded, and you have 60 seconds to initiate that lift. So you have the announcement the bar is loaded, you walk to the platform, and you grip the bar and you pick it up. You hold the weight, and the only other command is down. Okay? So the judge is going to tell you to go down, you'll put the weight down. You will put the weight down. You're not going to drop it, you're not going to throw it, and you're going to keep it in your hands all the way to the floor. Okay? This is partly for safety, and then partly to make sure you don't damage any equipment. The floor, the bar, the plates. You don't want to hurt any of the spotters. And we also want a classy meet. We don't need to have a big old raging celebration. Go celebrate with your friends later. So anyway, with the deadlift, just like the other lifts, you don't want to descend. One thing to look at, or a couple things to look at, make sure that you don't hitch the bar. Hitching can be looked at easily by bringing the bar up, letting it rest on your legs, and then pulling it back up again. Don't do that. It's not a good lift, and the judges will see it most of the time. Another is called ramping, and it's kind of similar and sometimes mistaken. But ramping is when you bring the bar up, and then once you reach your knees, you shove your legs into it, and you use your legs to support the lift and just slide the bar up the legs, rather than just pull it. Judges don't always catch this, but it still shouldn't be done. Make sure that you just pull the bar up all the way, one straight line with no descent. You don't have to super lean back, and you don't have to roll your shoulders back either. But at the same sense, they don't need to be here. They should be standing naturally and casually like an action figure or a Marine. Okay? Now, the bumps. You get 3 bumps on your final deadlift. This can also be used in a bench press only competition. Okay? You can use 2 bumps in a bench press only competition on the 3rd bench press after you've assigned your weight. You can bump up or down. If you ever bump down though, you can never bump the weight lower than the weight that is already loaded on the bar. So if you want to bump down and 225 is loaded on the bar, that is the lowest that you can bump down to. Okay? So plan your strategy accordingly. This is all about strategy. So you can bump up or down and just be safe. So at the end of the meet, you're going to get a total of all 3 lifts. They're going to add your heaviest successful lift. What's a successful lift in a powerlifting meet? You have 3 judges, and each one gets to have an opinion based on the rules that they observe and know. 2 out of 3, majority rules. So if you get 2 white lights or 2 approval, a white light is going to be an approved lift. A red light is going to be a lift that's not approved. So 2 out of 3 is good. That's all you need. 3 is desired. After you miss a lift or even successfully get a lift, definitely go ask the judges what you missed the lift for or what you got the red light for if you did even get it. It's to your advantage to be able to correct those things. So sometimes it might be lower. Maybe you're moving your foot and you don't even know it, and it's moving all over the place. Another idea to add is that if you're ever in a weight class with someone else and you both have the same total, just know that the lighter person is going to win. If you want to win, just make sure you do more. Anyways, leave questions in the comments section, and I'll be sure to give you some responses. But time here over at the bar, go catch a lift.